what's interesting is, certainly we've had a pandemic, right? And before, a lot since then, a lot of places in Chicago have closed. So what do you think the landscape when you guys open up again in person? I know you're teaching online is right now, but what do you think the landscape's going to look like here in Chicago?
Oh, we're going to own this town. No, I'm totally kidding. From the very beginning, our plan has been natural organic growth. We're not going to try and jump a couple of places in our growth process, because I think you learn from the growth. And so, where do we stand? It's really hard to it's hard to say. I mean, honestly, I don't recognize the landscape anymore. It has shifted that much. I don't know about you, but I feel like, and I just heard today that the playground is closing as well, amongst a slew of other companies and groups and theaters. So what is that going to look like? Honestly, I don't know. I know that there is going to be a need for it, for improvisation and education that goes along with it. And one of my big fears is that improv goes the way of jazz, and it becomes this very niche kind of art form. And so I'm involved with a group trying to take care of that, but I'm worried that Chicago could lose its place in that in the pantheon of improvisation and just become, like Seattle, the home of grunge. Well, people aren't still going there for grunge. You know what I mean? Whereas Austin and Nashville has kept their music base and been able to thrive with that for, decade after decade after decade. I think Chicago could still do that.
So what does Chicago need to do to hold on to that place?
We need to, I think that there needs to be, I think we need to bring back the Chicago Improv Festival. I think that we need to establish our status again in the country. And again, I don't mean in sort of a braggadocio way. I mean in look, there's a reason that this came together here. And there's still an incredible amount of comedic talent that come here that stream into the city. Once we lose that and they're able to go to New York or LA or somewhere else to get a different flavor of it, there's no need to come to Chicago anymore.
But we have been losing that. We've been losing that for the last, I'd say, probably 15 years.
We have. Yeah, I don't know if I'd put it at 15, but I'd say, yeah, that's probably not. I won't disagree with you. It's your show, Jimmy. No reason for us to fight.
Thanks.
Stop being like Favreau, man. What the hell?
If only I could be more like Favreau.
Right? If all of us could be more like Favreau. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. One of the biggest mistakes that I think Chicago has made is we have not leveraged the comedic talent that's in this town, both artistically as writers and producers, as well as performers. We haven't done it, and that's a huge mistake. We have to. So my big plan, if I'm going to
love to hear it, yeah,
transparent, absolutely. We need to have a presence on television that is a flavor of Chicago, and we need to have that presence that takes place on television. It needs to take place online, and it needs to come from Chicago. So some of the big houses, I mean, Second City, IO, all of these places should have had television shows on here in Chicago, some sort of training ground, something. They were doing this in other cities. You had MST3K up in Minnesota. You had Almost Live out in Seattle. You had all of these small market shows that showcased incredible talent before they had to move out to the coast to continue their career, which is fine. But why not create that space here? Dick Wolf came in and did it. Right? I mean,
right.
This guy walked in.
He did it like 3 or 4 times, right? With Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Legal.
I mean, all it takes is the foundation. Just start doing it. All of it is not going to make money. All of it is not going to be successful. But what are we doing? We have our own television stations here. We have our own content creators. Why has this not been a huge, banner that people have been willing to carry? So, to my end, what am I looking to do? I'm looking in the next 5 years to create a space in Players Workshop where we have those outlets, both online and on television, that create something that pulls talent here. And that'll necessitate a growth of Players Workshop faster than I had anticipated. So we've got to adapt to that as well, which is what improvisation is all about. It's about being the adaptation engines that we're born to be.
Jimmy Carrane's a nerd. Jimmy Carrane's an improv nerd. Jimmy Carrane's a nerd. Oh, Jimmy Carrane. Jimmy Carrane's a nerd. Jimmy Carrane's an improv nerd. Jimmy Carrane's a nerd.